What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about if Captain Marvel will make $1 billion in the box office. And I kind of want to talk about the money earned from this movie. I want to talk again about some of the things I talked about yesterday, but more in a money aspect. So the film came out. It did really, really well. And, again, talking about what I talked about yesterday, it's brought up a lot of different conversation of, the trolls didn't work. People that bashed this movie didn't work. This movie made a lot of money. This movie made almost $500 million in the first week, which is very, very good. The domestic box office, I know it made quite a bit. I don't think it made all that much, okay? I don't think it made as much as it actually could have. And to piggyback off of what I said yesterday, it's making a lot of money. And to answer my question in this title, I do 100% think this movie will get close to, if not hit, $1 billion. The biggest thing you look at when you look at films in the box office is the drop between week 1 and week 2. It's very, very important to look at that, and that's one of the biggest things that really shows where your movie is going to be. You can have an absolutely massive first week, and then it can completely drop off week 2, and that can really hurt it going forward. And we've seen movies, mainly DC movies, sadly, experience this, where we had Batman vs. Superman, did insanely well. It still holds like high records, not necessarily the record breaking for all these, every movie kind of breaks a different record for, opening weekend for a female-led movie, opening weekend for Memorial Day, or opening weekend for March, or something like that. There's so many records that are all these categorized things, and some of them mean nothing, but Batman vs. Superman is high up on a couple different records, especially like opening weekend, opening couple days. It made a lot of money. Problem is, the second week it absolutely fell apart because people saw it, and that's a really important thing, especially in this day and age, is the ability to speak your mind, which again YouTube's kind of hiding. Speak your mind on what you saw and influence in that way if people are going to see it going forward. People that haven't seen it yet, also people that go to see movies more than one time, which does make up obviously the box office. Lots of people go see movies multiple times, and that does help these movies. Another big movie was Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad, again, made a ton of money that first weekend, and then it kind of, people talked about it, and then it dropped off massively. That movie, especially Batman vs. Superman, was headed towards like historically high box office numbers, and it completely fell apart. Now, do I think that's going to happen with Captain Marvel? It could. It's possible. It's not going to happen. I truly don't think it's going to happen. I think this movie, it's not a terrible movie. Even if you listen to all the controversy and the Rotten Tomatoes and Fandango, and again, a lot of the stuff I talked about yesterday, so I'm just kind of going over it very, very briefly. All the controversy, once you actually sit down the movie and you can watch our review that we did, you do, in a way, forget about a lot of that stuff. Now, the movie does make it known that it still has, in a way, kind of a social propaganda, going on. It's still got Brie Larson, so if you're not a fan of her, you're not going to like it. But for the most part, you can forget all the stuff she said, all the controversy around the movie, and just watch the movie, and it'll be okay. I think it'll range. I think your emotion level, or where you place this movie on a ranking, will range from maybe slightly below average, or just below average in general, to slightly above average. Now, I don't see anybody saying this is the best Marvel movie ever. I see a lot of websites, a lot of mainline journalism saying this is, like the biggest step, biggest bold direction Marvel's taken. I don't see that whatsoever. I think it was a pretty straightforward movie. It didn't do anything special, yet it had a female-led character who was pretty much blank-faced the entire movie, so I don't know if that makes it diverse or makes it different. But at the end of the day, I don't think you're going to walk away hating this film. You're not going to go away saying this was the movie of the year. I don't think it was. I don't think it'll even be close to it. But you're not going to hate it. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means when people talk about it online, and all the people that have been talking about it so far, even since it came out, I don't think it's going to hurt it in a way that Batman vs. Superman or Suicide Squad, and I'm sure there's other examples I'm just not thinking of, but those are the two biggest ones that come to my mind when I think of movies that did outstanding the first weekend, similar to Captain Marvel, really, and then just completely trailed off because of negative word of mouth. I don't think there's a lot of Here's the thing, if there was negative word of mouth, it already existed. And I guess that's what people are talking about, and one of the aspects people are talking about when we talked about in the video yesterday, saying like it defeated trolls. If the negativity around this movie was going to hurt this movie, I feel like it would have happened around opening weekend. Now, there's still room to be discussed. How much will this film make week week 2? Is it going to massively drop off? It made a lot domestically, but it didn't make, the most money domestically. Is it going to suffer a major, major drop off? Is this a movie that's really going to be carried overseas? And you know what? That's fine too. I'm sure there's lots of ways to look at it. I don't want to defend it. I don't want to attack it. Lots of movies have been helped out by overseas money. A lot of movies have been helped by domestic money. I'm sure it's going to get a fair share of both. I'm sure this movie it's already almost made its money back. So, I think when the movie was first coming out, I thought to myself, I texted Tyler this too, that I thought this movie was going to make around $700 to $800 million. I think it's going to make slightly more than that. I feel like it's going to reach $900 to maybe $1 billion. Black Panther did better than that. Infinity War, all these of the Avenger films, but standalone movies, that's still an absolute insane amount of money. And that, again, people can spin that story however they want. They can talk about how that defeated trolls. They can talk about feminism and female empowerment and all that stuff. I'm sure so many stories are going to be run by that. But there's also a possibility that this movie trails off. Highly unlikely. It's a Marvel film still. It's got the promotion. It's got all this stuff. So I don't necessarily think it's going to be hurt. But I do think eventually it will hit $1 billion. It also really has no movies to compete with it. I don't know of any major movie that's coming. I mean, Dumbo, I guess. But Shazam, I think, is the first really, really big movie that could start to take away from it. But that's not until the first Friday of April, which gives Captain Marvel almost 4 weeks to itself. So, I think it's going to make its money for sure. I think it's probably going to hit $1 billion, which is slightly more than I thought it was going to do. We just move on with our lives, okay? It's going to make its money. It's going to make however much it makes. It's going to be a success, and we can all just move on. There's going to be stories talked about. I guarantee you, every time that money gets reported from this movie, you're going to hear something going against the film, going for the film, going for Brie Larson, going against Brie Larson, social justice warriors, all this stuff. You're going to hear all this stuff literally every single weekend for the next 3 to 4 weeks, and you're probably going to hear it leading up to Endgame as well, because that's just what the news likes to do. At the end of the day, I think it's time for all of us to just take a step back, just breathe, something I haven't done since I recorded this video, and just let it all go. The movie came out. You guys can listen to what we talked about yesterday. We can listen to what we talked about in our review and Tyler's videos and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, the movie is out. It did what it did, the negativity, the positivity, whatever, and it's out now. So let's just, it's out. Enjoy it. Don't enjoy it. Whatever. Let's move on. Let's get to the next film. Let's get to the next experience in entertainment that's going to happen. And let's just take a deep breath. Okay, so guys, let me know in the comments below. Do you think Captain Marvel will hit $1 billion? Or do you think it will make more? Do you think it will make less? Where do you think it's going to end up box office wise? Let me know. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all of our videos go up. And thank you as always for watching this video. I hope to see you on the next one.